We're going to tie another stonefly imitation. This is going to be the double beaded stonefly. We're going to start with a Firehole 718 size 10. You could tie these in size 8 as well, or 12, whatever the size of your stoneflies are in the river. So we're actually going to put 2 beads on here. These are 5/32 beads, gold brass, and we're going to tie them in too. So this is how we start. Got the beads on. We're going to put our thread on right in between the 2 beads. Make sure you're anchored pretty good. Once you get it tied in, this front bead isn't going to move anymore. We're going to stop this back bead from moving. So we just kind of, if you pinch it and you just go over it a little bit, now you have that baby locked in. And we're just going to put a few extra wraps right there. And just keep going with that. Then we're going to move your thread back to the bend here. Once I get back here, I'm going to actually cord up the thread because I want to make a little ball back here so that when I tie my next material in, it flares out and it never comes together. So to do that, I want this to be really corded up. Okay, to make this, you're going to put these wraps like right on top of each other, and then so that it makes a little ball here. Doesn't have to be big, and then we want to make a turn in front of that ball. We'll tie in front of that and then work back. We're going to use a buyouts here, and if you look at buyouts, they curve. They have a curve to them. We want this to curve away from the hook, so we're going to tie it in. We're going to make these guys fairly long because this is a fairly big bug. We're going to just tie them in loosely. They normally will curve away. We're going to do this also on the other side. We're going to match it up. And we're going to tie it in on the other side as well. And then we're going to work our thread back to that bump, to where we've seen that bump. And really give them some pressure there so that doesn't ever come together. We're going to wrap forward over top of it. We don't no need to cut it off. This is going to be a very thick, big bug. Once we're at the top by the beads, we're going to tie in some gold ribbing wire, gold wire. This is brassy size. You can even go to large. It's fine. We're going to just tie it in and wrap it all the way back to the buyouts. Don't worry that you're building bulk up because, like I said, this is going to be a fairly hefty fly. Once we get back to there, we're going to stop. Not going to go past the bump, we're going to stay there. And we're going to take some turkey. You want some turkey tail like this. This happens to be cinnamon. You can get a lighter brown, but you want these really long fibers over here, not the short ones. You want the long ones because we're going to cover this whole fly in turkey, so at least the back of it, so we want to have a lot of it. So we're going to tie it in. You don't have to worry too much about where, because this thing is pretty long. What you want to do is make sure that you're back to where the tie-in point is. So you keep looking. Like right now I'm back to where that last tie-in point is. We're going to wrap this forward then, just right on top of all this stuff is fine. And that till we get up to the beads. Once we get to the beads, we can cut this stuff off. Get rid of it. Alright, now we're going to go back again with the thread. We get to do the fun part, the dubbing. What we're going to use to dub this is, it's called semi-seal. So it's a seal product, and this color happens to be golden olive. I like this because you know, when you look at a stonefly, a lot of times in the store you'll see a golden stone, and they're going to be really bright yellow. Well, all the golden stones I've caught in the river are not bright yellow. They have a kind of a olive yellow look to them, and they're a little dirty. So that's why I'm going to use this. This material is hard to dub on, so you have to take your time, wet your fingers, or use dubbing wax, and really get this stuff on there. I like this product also because it has a little bit of sparkle in it, which kind of is nice as you're dubbing this stuff. And that to fish it kind of catches the fish's eyes and stuff like that. At least that's what I think. That's how I think of this fly. So now I'm going to just keep right on that back a little bit. And remember, this is going to be tapered, so it's okay to have you know, not very much in the back, and then we're just going to kind of build. And then as we build, we may have to do lap overs on top of each other to make sure that we're getting all of the taper correct. Since this is a lot of dubbing, you're going to have to dub maybe several times to get this thing completed. So don't freak out that you didn't dub enough, and you don't want to dub so much that you can't control the thread. So we keep it in a reasonable amount. Once you get up to the bead, what's going to happen is a lot of this stuff is going to suck into the bead, and that's okay. You just got to remember that you have to put extra in there so that it really does stay inside the bead, and then you're tying up on top of this. So that looks pretty good. Okay. Alright, now we're going to finish the abdomen here. We're going to bring the turkey quill forward, and we're going to tie it off. A couple wraps. Okay. We're going to take our wire. This is a little tricky. You bring it over loose, and then when you're under here, then you tighten it up. So you're coming over loose because you don't want the back of this to move, and that. So you want to tighten it straight after you're past that. And you're just going to palmer this forward all the way through. This becomes a really great looking stonefly imitation. Couple, 3 times around. Then since it's a heavier wire, if you're going to helicopter it, it really takes a lot of extra effort. I find actually it's easier to just come in here and with my wire scissors and just cut it out. And you might want to look at how it cut out, and you might want to smooth that down, maybe put another wrap or 2 on. I'm going to come back, and I'm just going to put a couple wraps here to actually push this turkey quill back, and that kind of opens things up there. Now we're going to go back to our centipede legs that we've used in a lot of different of these stonefly imitations. This happens to be like a yellow and black color, and we're going to tie them in right on that bead. Get it right on the side, kind of adjust it a little bit. And then we're going to put ones on the other side as well. Now what I like to do is I'm going to take these, I'm just going to hold them here. I'm actually going to go forward to the other bead and tie them in on the other bead, just like that. So now they're tied in there, I can go back over to the other bead. Now I'm in the back bead. Alright, what we're going to do now is dub this front. What I want to do with the dubbing is I want to make it a really tight dub, because you're going to already get the girth from the bead and you're just adding to it. So if you can make this a pretty tight dub, you're going to be better off, and it'll look a little bit better. Sometimes you get a little too much dubbing on here and it just looks like a major fat bug, but that's okay too. So as you get it, it'll just kind of naturally push it forward over the bead. Like I said, I just take small amounts of dubbing at a time so I can control my thread. I don't want to lose control of what I'm doing with my thread. Almost there. A couple here at the end. Okay. Alright. So now that this is dubbed, what we're going to do is we're going to take a feather. In this case, what I'm using is actually a wing feather. You can use a hen feather or whatever, but you want to make the feather look like this. So you're just basically cutting the tip out, and you want to have really long fibers, because what we're going to do is we're going to send these downward. And we're just going to hold them right here. We're at the tying point. We're going to just pinch them right there. We're going to bring our thread through and really just kind of give them a good pinch. And we're hoping that they're going to be pointing down or to the side, which they are. Then we're going to cut this off. Now the longer the fibers, the better in this case. I didn't get close enough here, but I can come in and just trim that out. Last part here of tying in is we're just going to take the back right over the top. At this point, we're going to just whip finish it and bring it in. Just going to go around these legs. Just be patient as you do this, going around the legs, and they'll get out of your way. And it's tied off. Lastly, we're going to do the legs. These front legs, we don't need to make them very long. So what I do is I pinch the fly and push it forward. I just come in here and cut them like that. This one's a little, there we go. So they're pretty little. The back legs I like about halfway onto the biots. And that, so you just kind of hold the legs out here and kind of give it a good snap there. And that is a double beaded stonefly.